Miller. Did you give this to her? Are you helping her entice my husband? You're both trash. I hung my head, burning with a shame that wasn't mine to carry. But Mrs. Miller didn't flinch. She stepped between us, her eyes brimming with a mixture of pity and steel. I gave it to her, Diane. She's a child. How can you say those things about your own daughter? Mrs. Miller's thin frame was a shield, but Diane wasn't a woman who cared about reason. My mother's eyes went cold. I felt a chill run down my spine. Diane raised her hand again. Mrs. Miller didn't move. She probably thought a neighbor wouldn't actually strike her, but I knew better. I'd seen Diane's rage break women before. The thought of Mrs. Miller's kind face being bruised because of me was more than I could bear. Before the blow landed, I lunged forward. It was the first time I ever fought back. I threw my arms around my mother's waist, trying to pin her arms. It only made the beating more frantic. In the chaos, my head slammed into the rusted iron railing of the porch. Everything went white. Blood began to pour down my face. The neighbors turned away, closing their doors one by one. Diane didn't stop. She shoved Mrs. Miller to the ground. Through the fog in my brain, I heard the heavy click of the gate. My father was home. I tried to scream for him, but my voice was a broken rasp. He walked past us, his eyes fixed straight ahead. He opened the front door and stepped inside. He didn't even hesitate. Mrs. Miller begged for me. She went from demanding justice to pleading for mercy. I'll go. I'll move out. I'll never speak to her again. Just please stop hitting her. I looked up and saw tears streaming down Mrs. Miller's face. Diane finally stopped, either because she'd won or because her arm was tired. She tossed me aside like a bag of refuse and followed my father into the house. I never saw Mrs. Miller again. Before she left, she managed to leave a small box for me hidden in the bushes. A few items of clothing, some snacks, and a book. I hid them away. Treats I never dared to use. Talismans of a life I wasn't allowed to have. As the years passed, Diane's hatred matured. Every birthday I had was a countdown to her losing her grip on Robert. She began to look at me not as a daughter, but as a rival she needed to liquidate. The only thing that kept me going was school. And Zoe. Zoe was my best friend. She didn't know the details of my home life, but she saw the bruises. Every morning she would pull me into a hug in the hallway. It's going to be okay, Nancy. Just breathe, she'd say. That one sentence, that one hug, it was my oxygen. I was a straight A student. I worked harder than anyone else because I knew that a scholarship was my only ticket out of that hellhole. My guidance counselor, Mr. Harrison, believed in me. He'd pat my shoulder and tell me I had a brilliant future. Senior year arrived. Mr. Harrison pulled me aside after a mock exam. Nancy, look at these scores. Keep this up and you're looking at a full ride to the state university, maybe even Columbia. I was in the top 10 of my class. I was 20 days away from freedom. One afternoon, after a celebratory lunch with the Honor Society, I walked across the campus alone. I was so happy it felt like a fever dream. For the first time, I allowed myself to think about a dorm room, a locked door, and a life where no one called me a slut for existing. Nancy, wait up! Mr. Harrison called out. He caught up to me, sensing my uncharacteristic glow. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. The road is long, but you're almost there. I saw Zoe waving at me from the parking lot. The sun was hitting the trees, and for a second, the world looked beautiful. I thought, maybe I can be like her. Maybe I can be normal. That night, I walked into the house. Diane was sitting in the living room, the TV off. My heart skipped a beat. The air felt heavy, charged with a familiar electricity. I tried to bolt for my room, but she was faster. She lunged, grabbing me by the hair and slamming me to the floor. The impact knocked the wind out of me. My backpack, heavy with textbooks, dug into my spine. Diane kicked me twice before stalking over to the coffee table. She was trembling with a manic, jagged energy. The junk removal guy found your little stash, she hissed, throwing a handful of items at me. Dresses? Lipsticks? You've been stealing from us to buy these things, haven't you? They were the things Mrs. Miller had left me. The lip balm was dried up, the snacks were long expired, and the sundress smelled of mildew from being hidden under the floorboards. You're just dying for him to see you in this, aren't you? You want to take him from me. She threw the dress at my face. I curled into a ball, clutching the moth-eaten fabric. Just a little longer, I whispered to myself. Just 20 days. Just survive 20 days. The pain was a dull roar. I could handle the pain. Hope was so close I could taste it, but the world had other plans. 2 weeks before graduation, the school announced a mandatory parent-teacher night. I didn't think much of it.